Again, by talking about Moshe Valam Lamer, Abai spoke to Moshe and saying, this is the hook of the Torah that Hashem commanded, saying, Daber b'nei Yisrael, speak to the b'nei Yisrael, v'yikchu elecha, and they shall take to you the red heifer. Like he continues and concludes all the details about the paradum. It's known, the examinations and the exact language of the Rabbeim are Nesiim about this. What does he say? Why is Yud Ke Vav Ke? Since it already says that Avaya spoke to Moshe, why does he repeat and say that Avaya commanded? So what's the reason for that type of repetition? And also when you understand, why does he also say this is the chukah of the Torah? A very general term of the Torah. This is the chukah of this particular law. Why doesn't he say this is the chukah of the paradum? There's a different place. It says this is the law of the Korban Pesach. We have this in Parshas Boy. He doesn't say about Korban Pesach. This is the chukah of the Torah. It says it's the chukah, the law, the decree of the Korban Pesach. There's the same thing over here. It should have said Zois chukas hapara, not Zois chukas Torah. Names, we know, Chazal explained that both the chukah of the paraduma and the chayk of the Pesach, which the Torah uses after all the same terms about it, uses Zois chukas Torah and Zois chukas Pesach. They are connected. Shalei and them are concerning both of them. It says both the chukah of the Korban Pesach and though the chukah of the paraduma, it says in Tehillim, Yihi libi samim b'chukecha. My heart should be earnest in your chukim. Like the Medrash brings down that this is the meaning when the pasuk says Yihi libi samim b'chukecha. It's not talking about in general that Dvar Malchus was asking that my heart should be complete and devoted to all your mitzvahs. Specifically, the Medrash says it's talking about both the chukah, where the two places in the Torah use the word chukah. It uses it by the Korban Pesach, it uses it by the Parah Adumah. And why does it use those? Because those are two places that are used the term chukah, so they're similar. So if they are similar, so why don't you use a similar language? Just like when you're talking about the chukah of the Korban Pesach, you say Zois chukas ha-Pesach. The same thing when you're talking about the Parah Adumah, you should use the language Zois chukas ha-Parah. That's not what it says by us. Or some other term similar to Zois chukas ha-Parah, meaning we're talking about this individual thing, not a general thing. Since the pasuk does not choose to use a term that says specifics, it uses that a term of Zois chukas ha-Torah. Line 12 from this, it's indicated that Paraduma is a general chukah of the entire Torah. When you understand Mahu Yisrael mitzvahs Paraduma al-Gabishar Kol Chukim, what is the advantage and the specialness of Paraduma over all other chukim? That this is called not just any chukah, but it's called the chukah of the Torah. It's something general to the whole Torah. It exemplifies the idea of chukim and Torah, or whatever it's meant to say. Line 15. Hine Isa Medrash is brought down the Medrash al Pasuk. Marti Echkama B'Yudachoyka Meni. Shlomo HaMelech said in Kehelis, he said, I have said I will be wise, and it was distant from me. So the Medrash says on that pasuk, the Medrash Kehelis, V'chein ugam b'Medrash Parshas Chukas. The same idea is brought down the Medrash on Parshas Chukas. So both the Rebbe says it's in two different Medrashim. One on that pasuk in Kehelis, one on that pasuk on Parshas Chukas. It brings on the following about Shlomo Melech. What Shlomo Melech was saying in that pasuk in Kehelis. Amar Shlomo Melech said, "Al kol eila madati bishpashti." On all of these, on all of the mitzvahs of the Torah, I searched and I investigated and I tried figuring it out. What's the meanings behind it? Parsha Paraduma Chokart and the even and in all of those, the Shlomo Melech saying I was successful. I understood what's behind it. I got the idea over here. But when it came to Parsha Paraduma Chokarti, I've investigated. Once I was invested, boiling in it and investigating it and searching through it, I said, I was wise in it, but even though I was wise, I was investing all my intellect in it and all my smarts in it. Still in all, it is far from me. That's what Shlomo Melech said after investigating the Parah Aduma, just like he tried investigating all the other mitzvahs of the Torah. Only concerning Moshe Rabbeinu. Hashem wanted that by Moshe Rabbeinu, the mitzvah of Parah Aduma should not be in the way of a chukah, should not be in the way of a super rational decree. Therefore, Hashem told Moshe Rabbeinu, Lecha ani megala tampot. To you, I'm revealing the reason for the parah. Not even Shlomo Melech, who's the Chacham Mikol Adam, was able to determine the reason for Parah Aduma, but Hashem, for whatever reason, wanted that Moshe Rabbeinu should know the reason for it. It's a Medrash Parshas Chukas, like it's brought down the Medrash on Parshas Chukas. But the question over here is, what is special, or what is about Parah Aduma that it's beyond? And here Shlomo Melech said, I'm at a loss. Line 21, we need to understand, why is the mitzvah Parah Aduma distinct and different? That specifically concerning Parah Aduma, Shlomo Melech said, after he reached with his wisdom to understand other chukim, so he said, I said, I was trying to understand it with my wisdom. He many top of page above, and it was far from it. So it says like this: there are many mitzvahs other than Parah Aduma, until special type of mitzvahs that are called chukim, a whole category of mitzvahs. It's not just the mitzvah of Parah Aduma. There's a whole section of mitzvahs that are called chukim, super rational laws. Especially according to what's explained in many places, that in truth, not just the super rational mitzvahs of chukim one needs to fulfill in a way that's beyond understanding, but the truth is all mitzvahs, even the logical mitzvahs, even mitzvahs like mishpatim, a person needs to fulfill in the way of accepting the yoke of heaven. Just like a person would fulfill chukim, super rational laws, he has to fulfill the rational laws also with Kabbalsa. This means not only does a person have to fulfill mitzvahs, despite the fact, even if he doesn't understand it, but is a deeper not understanding. A person must fulfill a mitzvah. This is the ultimate level of Kabbalah's oil, not just despite his not understanding, but even if they are the opposite of his understanding, even if they're the opposite of what he wants. Chazal state, person should not say, I do not like non-kosher meat. I do not like eating pig. That's not what he should say. He should say, he should say, really, I like eating bacon. I like eating ham. I like McDonald's. So what should I do? I have no choice. My Father in heaven decreed that I should not eat it. What does that mean? When the person says, I can eat it, so and then he stops himself from eating it, so that's going against his mind. His mind says, if you like it, eat it. If you want to, do it. It's going against his mind, and it's going against his will. Alpha became Baruch Hu still and only fulfills the command of the Eibishter. Goes our license. My Father in heaven decreed this upon me. This indicates that he's in a total state of bit. Just a side interesting thing. There's a Maimer the Rebbe where he says something amazing. That even a tzaddik, and we know even more so, especially a tzaddik, is supposed to say, Efshi, Aval Ma Esse Shavish Rosh Maim Gazra Lai. Someone who's about Shuvah in that regard, someone who struggled with eating non-kosher, he's not supposed to say, I can eat non-kosher, just the opposite. He is supposed to do whatever it takes to hold himself back from eating non-kosher. So he can't say, I would love to eat it, but just Hashem told me not to. No, he should try to push it away in every way possible. Say, I don't like it. I don't want to eat. It's mainly the person that was never fell through in these things. He's supposed to say, you know what? Pink sounds great to me. McDonald's sounds great to me. I'm just not going to do it because Hashem told me not to do it. The Rebbe says an amazing thing about it. We know that a tzaddik, you learn about a tzaddik in Tanya has no desire for something that's prohibited. That's shade in the chroin. Doesn't even have desire, should be even for kosher things. He has no types for non-kosher things. But since the Torah says that a person is supposed to say, Efshi, Abulma Esa Shavish Rishmaim Gazer Alai, that means that he is evoking and awakening within himself a desire that he doesn't really have. Because Torah is Torah Samas. Torah doesn't play any games. Torah of truth is telling him, you should say it this way. If he just says Efshi, but he's really completely disgusted by going into McDonald's or eating from Pink's, so then he's lying. He's lying to himself, he's lying to God. That's not what Torah wants. Torah is Torah Samas. So when a tzaddik says Efshi, the Rebbe says he's literally evoking within himself a desire to want to do this Aved. And he's saying, but I'm not doing it because Hashem decreed upon me. Which is really wild and really against logic. Here I went through all this trouble to feel an enjoyment and an attraction to this. And I say, no, not doing it, but Hashem told me. So back to the text, line 12. Just a side interesting point. It says at the end of line 12, this indicates that he's in a total state of bittul. In Cain of so Mao, Yisrael mitzvah paraduma, what is the advantage of the mitzvah, the paraduma? Shadafki, he nikras b'shem chukas tam, specifically the mitzvah paraduma is called just a chayk, without any other type of description, like we said before. It's not called zois chukas apara, like Pesach is called chayk. Only the mitzvah paraduma remains a chayk, even by Shlomo HaMelech, who investigated every single mitzvah. Since there are so many other mitzvahs that fall into the category of chukim, And since mitzvahs in general must be done in a way of chukim, even though they're logical mitzvahs that we understand, so why do we zero in, or why does Shlomo Melech zero in on Para Aduma and make that the chay, the super rational decree? Also, when you understand close in the Chuksa Torah, the general idea of the Chuk of the Torah, as it's known, that idea of Chukah Shul L'Shoin Chakika is also from the word engraving. It is a Gemara, a Medrash, like it's brought down the Medrash. Chukais shebehem hakakti shamayim v'aretz. The Torah are called laws, that with these laws I engraved, I chiseled out the heavens and the earth. I created the heavens and the earth. Shenemar, like it says, in loy brisi yom v'loy, not for my covenant of Torah being kept day and night and being studied day and night. Chukish shamayim v'aretz loy samti. I would not have set and placed the laws of the heavens and the earth. So what do we see over here? We see that somehow or other the idea of chukim has to do with engraving. Just like the heavens and the earth are used the term of engraving. And there's an interconnection between the engraving of the Torah and the engraving and the solidity of the heavens and the earth, as we will explore more in the next place. Any questions before we go on? Line 21. This will be understood by first prefacing the explanation concerning what's called the statutes and the laws and decrees of heavens and earth, meaning the creation of heaven and earth. Like in a very short version, the Rebbe Rashab in the Hemshech of Tafresh Samach analyzes this. We need to understand what is this engraving of heaven and earth. We could add to this, it's known the difference between writing and engraving. Like it's known in the Mamorim on Parshas Bichukoisai, in Bichukois Telechu, right? The last Parsha in Chumash Vayikra, and also in Parshas Chukas. Again, both of them are using the term Chukah. So in Mamorim on both of those Parshas, he analyzes the difference between engraving, Chikah versus Ksiv. Ksiv in writing, Hariya Oisi is him, Yoy had Yoy ala Klav, Tapet, him had Yoy, to Dover Zar Venifred Ma Klav, Tapet, page Zayin. That in writing, there's ink, and ink is a foreign, separate thing from the parchment that's being written on. But after the person writes, when he writes with ink and parchment, so then there's a joining and a union between the ink and the parchment until they become as one. That's why the reading of the letters are specifically when the letters are written on parchment or any other item that you write them on. But if you had the ink and they weren't written on something, you can't read the letter. That is the nature of written letters. Written letters are two separate things, the ink and the parchment, and then they join. As opposed to letters of engraving him in Nehu, they are from the item itself. That the letters are one with the stone in which they were engraved in. That's not like writing. Once you wrote, it's possible to separate between the paper and the ink. You could scratch it off, you could erase it, because it's not really one thing. As opposed to engraving, when someone chisels or engraves letters out from a rock or a stone, there's no way of separating from that. The only way to do so
is not really by separation, but by destruction. The only way to do it is only if you completely destroy the entire stone that has the letters. Then, along with the stone, the letters become destroyed. But you didn't really separate the letters from the stone. According to this distinction between writing versus engraving, when you understand what does it mean, the chukos of Shemayim v'aretz. When we're talking about the creation of the world, we're liking them to chukah from the word chakika, engraving. We say the world is no way of engraved letters. Isn't the world something separated from godliness? Which is the letter Ches. Though the word Echad of Shema Yisrael indicates Aleph is going on the Aleph of the world, Aleph Shalom, the master of the world. He rules over the Ches, the number 8, includes the 7 heavens and the earth. And the Dalet indicates the 4 sides of the compass. So it shows on a unity, Echad, the connection between Hashem and the world. That according to the word Echad comes out that Hashem and the world are not 2 separate things. And we see this in another place as well, not just in Hashem Echad, but also in a similar vein. It says by Avram Avinu. That says Vayikra Sham b'Shem Havaya Keil Olam v'Loi Keil HaOlam. It says he called over there in the name of Havaya Keil Olam, God world, and not Keil HaOlam, God of the world. Meaning, like Chassidus explains, by leaving out that letter Hey, by leaving out the definitive article. He revealed in the world that the world is not a separate entity from God. But still, this is something that Avram affected and accomplished in the world. This means initially the world was created in such a way that it's separated from God. And then Avram came along, Vayikra. Avram called out and made well known and caused a revelation that it should not be something separate from God. In a similar vein, in the Echad of Shema Yisrael, that there is a point where they were separate, and now we're joining them together. This union of the word Echad is not a plain statement of fact that it is that way, but it's through the meditation. When we think about it, we meditate upon it, through his oneness, we bring this union of the oneness of Hashem with the world to make it one. But the world on its own is really separated from Hashem, if not for our putting it together with our devotion, our hisbonenus. And the Rebbe goes on and says, even after what we do, it's still not truly one. In truth, even after our meditation by Shema Yisrael, and even after the effect of Avram on the world, Vayikra Keil Olam, the world did not become in a way of being engraved, godliness in it, top of page Ches, Mamish. It doesn't become mamish in a way that it's engraved in it. How do you know? Moving like it's understood from the fact that Chazal say that 6,000 years the world will stand, and 1,000 the world will be destroyed. What does that mean? That there's a limit to the existence of the world. If the world would be completely one with Hashem, so Hashem's oneness or Hashem's everlasting nature would impact the world as well, that it would be everlasting as well, and it would go on forever. Obviously, there's a room for, even though they become joined, there's a room to separate between the two. In Cain, line 2 on page Ches. This is not similar to the unity between Hashem and the world. Is not similar to engraving. Only by writing it's possible to separate between parchment and ink. And that's like when the world will stop being, you will separate between the Eibishter and the world. As opposed to engraving that there's no separating between them. According to this, we need to understand. Because of Chuk Shemayim V'Aretz, why it says the term, the Chukim of Shemayim V'Aretz, meaning the engraving of heavens and earth. Why is the creation of heavens and earth called engraving if godliness is not essentially one, like when you engrave letters on a block of stone? That's one question about the creation of the world called Chuk Shemayim V'Aretz. Also, we need to understand where it says in the pasuk, if not for my covenant between the Yidden and Hashem. I would not place the laws, the statutes of the heavens and the earth. In other words, I would not create the earth if not for Torah. The Kayala Torah, it's referring to Torah. Torah is the covenant that Hashem gave to the Yidden. That is the reason why the world goes on to exist. Isa the Gemara, like is brought down Gemara of Chizkiah. This is what Chizkiah said. The Adam Moira. My Dechsiv, what it says in the pasuk, Mishamayim Mishmata Din, that you let hear from the heavens your justice. In other words, the Torah. Eretz Yada V'Shakata. The earth was fearful, and then it calmed down. Betchila Yada. Initially, the earth was fearful. Shemali Kablat Yisrael Torah. It was worried. Maybe the Yidden would not accept the Torah. Therefore, it was worried the earth would return to nothingness, to the state of its primordial non-existence. And eventually, when the Yidden accepted the Torah by saying, we will do and we will understand, Shakata, calm down. So we see the interlinkage between Torah and the world. But the problem about this is, move on. From this, it seems to indicate that Torah is for the sake of the existence of the world. But the Rebbe is going to ask a very simple thing. When you say A is for B, A then is less valuable than B. The means to an end means that the means is less valuable than the end. The result is more important than whatever's going to bring that result. If you're saying Torah is to ensure the existence of the world, comes out the world is more important than Torah. Line 15. Ain't the movement, it's not understood. The need for A, for B, then it's only possible to say that when something of lesser value is for something of a greater value. It's impossible to say that you need a more precious thing for a cheaper, less valuable thing. If so, what does it mean? If not for my covenant, in other words, if not for the Torah, I would not have established the laws of heavens and the earth. It seems to indicate that why do you need to have the Torah for the existence of the world? Move on from this itself. You're saying if Torah is for the sake of the world, so it comes out that there's an advantage. There is something more precious in the world over Torah. How can you say such a thing? Appears that Rabbi Magnus was saying this also understood from the explanation of the Mizritcher Maggid. But the Rebbe said this Maimer in Tafshil Lamed Gimel. It was 200 years since the Mizritcher Maggid's passing in Taf Kuf Lamed Gimel. Is what it says in the Aseres HaDibros. Vaydaber Elokim is called Borameila Leimer. Hashem spoke all these matters, saying, "HaKadosh Baruch Hu Chiber v'Kosher Aseres HaDibros." Hashem bound together the 10 dibros al yidei bechinas Elokim through the level of Elokim sheyalo bechinas Leimer. They should go up to the word Leimer. All the Mefarshim ask, why is it say Vaydaber Elokim is called Borameila Leimer? To say. Who are they going to say it to? The whole Klal Yisrael and all neshamas that would ever exist
were there by Matan Torah. What does it mean, lamer? So the Mezritcher Maggid says there's the dibrois by daber, and there's the amiros, lamer. What's the lamer? These are the 10 utterances that were said in the Sheish Mebereshis. So Shem Elakim, Vaydaber Elakim, connected and joined the Vaydaber, the Aser Sadibrois, with the lamer, with the amiros, with the Asaram Amoris. And it becomes even more interesting, especially according to the explanation of the Ramaz commentary on the Zohar. The idea of speech and also the level of writing is in the sphere of Bina. The Chazal say that when it says Vayomer Hashem, a lot of times it says also sometimes the pasuk says Vayomer Hashem El Liboy. He says to himself. That's a deeper level than speech. That's a deeper level than Bina, which is more outgoing, more outward. Rather, it's internal. What's the idea of Chacham? So Amira saying, that's the level of Chacham. Dibur speaking, that's the level of Bina and writing. What did we say? Vaydaber Aser Sadibros, that's Dibur. Asara Mamaris is Amira. Just not said Amira is higher. Is Asara Mamaris be higher than Aser Sadibros? If this understood, the creation of the world through the 10 utterances, it's higher than the giving of the Torah. Through the Aser Sadibros. How can that be? When you understand what is that advantage of the world over the Torah? Any questions?